Hey guys, it's churches, graveyards and graves, and we are at St Mary's in Stretton, which is not far from Burton-on-Trent. And you can see it behind me. It's a really beautiful church, and actually there's a lot of grounds, so I'm just going to turn it around and show you the grounds and show you the church from the outside, because it is quite sizable. So here we go. So this is St Mary's in Stretton, and you can see it's not quite a cruciform shape, but it's a really sizable church, but considering the size of the village. And you have got this central tower, and the tower's not at the end, and it's a bit of a different tower as well, because you can see it's got like a little bit of a pointy bit, so it's not exactly a spire tower. It's more of a tower, but not in the medieval style. So this is a Victorian church from around 1836, built by John Stretton, which was on my last video. And these were people who were very wealthy because of the breweries, and it's actually built on the site of a much older church, and you know, like most of them are really. I mean, for whatever reason the old church went and this new church was built. But they had some really famous architects build this church, one of them being someone who helped out at St Paul's Cathedral, and some of the most famous church architects then came and built some of these. So here we have this graveyard as well, and you can see how big this churchyard is, and these are all the modern graves here, and it goes right over to the other side, and round the back of the church. So it is quite a sizable churchyard, but obviously because it's not medieval, there's no yew trees, there's none of that like enclosed styling that you get with the medieval churches. And around it, it's not in Gothic style. It's got a parapet there, you can see the parapets at the top, but it's quite a simplistic building with some nice decorated windows and some fabulous stained glass inside, which was on my previous video. Brought here as well because I want to show you this grave, because it really had a bit of interest for me. So it's from 1854, and it's about Sarah, wife of John Page, but we're actually talking about Sarah here, although they always mention the male for some weird reason. That was just a Victorian thing, but it talks about Sarah in her life. So I'm just going to read it out for you because it was quite interesting that they mentioned this. So it says, "In kind remembrance, spare a tear. The village nurse lies sleeping here. Midst sorrow, sickness, drear and despair, gave old and young her anxious care. She did the tender nursing aid, and watched with care the dying bed, in hopes, when the last fate is given, to meet a full reward in heaven." What an epitaph, eh? So Sarah was the village nurse, and she gave a lot of care to the old people, the young people, those who were anxious, and she was hoping that, you know, when her time came, that, you know, she would get that full reward in heaven for the amount of Christian compassion she gave. So this is a really interesting epitaph that it really mentions her profession, and you know, and how important it was to her. Which is really fabulous, because you don't often get professions mentioned, but nothing else is mentioned about Sarah here other than her profession. What a stunning example of a grave this is. So just telling you something about her character, and we had a similar one with Tom from Burton actually, and saying about his character. So that was another typical thing of like a 19th century epitaph, that they would mention the jobs or the character of the person. Whereas when we see these modern graves, it's completely different. So just to give an example, you know, these say things like devoted husband and dad, dear husband, father and grandfather. Some of them don't even say that really. Loving you lot, dear wife. But I just think that all these graves tell a story, you know, even these modern ones. And it's just so great that some of the old ones tell you something about their life. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that wonderful grave of Sarah, the village nurse who went around caring for people and hopefully getting her amazing reward in heaven. It's just an amazing story. And every time you go into these graveyards, I think, you know, what stories can we get? You know, what stories of the past, what stories of history can we find from these fabulous graves and these wonderful churches? Because every little thing tells a bit of a story. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share and you know, comment and like my videos. Tell other people about them. If you're interested in history, if you're interested in these wonderful churches that tell amazing stories, then, you know, please get other people to get involved, because it really encourages me. I'm on Buy Me a Coffee as well. But from right here in Stretton, see you again soon. See ya.